And we're back.
We are back. I'm excited.
We are back.
How you doing?
Is it Friday already?
Yeah, it's like I only live for Fridays now. It's
Living
fun.
for the weekend. It's
Yeah.
no longer Saturday night. It's Friday
Well,
morning.
not because it's the weekend. Like the weekend is any other day for us. Literally.
You ain't wrong.
It's not
I have
like
to explain to my friends that they're like, "What are you doing this weekend?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm working." Like, "Oh, you're working on the weekend?" I'm like, "What's a weekend?
yeah.
Go back to your job selling insurance, bro."
Has the cold receded a bit there?
Yeah, actually, this week was like early. Like it was weird. On Monday, we got like a huge like a foot of snow, but then the next day was all melted, and I don't know. It's like 42, 43 these days, so we're already on the way to spring already. I think.
Here in the Bay Area, it's been torrential rain. And this weekend, they are going to have this phenomenon, which I only learned about last year. It's called an atmospheric river, which is basically just rivers of water just come down from the sky and just inundate everything. You know, so it's been raining off and on quite a bit, and it's like it would be nice if there's rain, you walk out, enjoy the rain a little bit. Here, it's crazy ass rain or nothing. It's
When I lived in Arizona, it was the first time I encountered monsoon season, and that was wild because we were in the desert and it would only rain for like 15 minutes, but you'd go outside and it was raining like golf balls, and like it would go from dry to like giant puddles, and it's like, whoa, this isn't rain. This is a natural disaster.
there's low-lying areas that they are putting like sandbags and all that kind of stuff because they expect a lot of flooding and all that. But getting away from the weather here, I must tell you, I must confess, this week has been a brutal one. It's probably been one of the most brutal work-wise in terms of getting stuff done under a lot of deadline pressure. Huge. And I'm just glad it's Friday and I'm still surviving and still standing, because it has literally been almost practically every day this week has been a 21, 22 hour day.
Yeah, and we got a couple more big ones coming up. So
Yeah, next week is going to be huge. I don't think I will see sleep for a few days
yeah,
in a row.
it's gonna be brutal.
I will be ready for that though. But we have exciting things to report on today, and so part of it is news, part of it is educational. I definitely want to welcome the artist community. I requested artists to start showing up here because they can get a better sense of what's coming, etc. So hopefully there's more of them. Of course, welcome to our community. We love you all, and can't wait to share these news and updates, and also what's coming up on the horizon with you. So let's get going. Yeah.
Absolutely, I'll be in the background if you need me.
All right. I'm gonna put my input here. All right, let's get going, guys. Welcome once again to the VTRU download. This is our week in review every Friday at 10 a.m. Pacific time. Today is February the 2nd, 2024, and this is season 2, episode 5. What I've started to do is I have the link usually on the last slide, but I put it here so you can follow along and jump ahead if you'd like a little bit. So here we go. Let's get going. I'm going to continue with the format I started last time, which is to organize things into these categories or buckets of protocol, capital, tokens, products, creators, and ecosystem. I think it kind of fits well, and let's get going with that. So first up is the protocol. I like to say that no news about the protocol is probably good. It means it's working flawlessly and there's no issues. There's 19,241 wallet holders now. Our 5-second block time remains consistent under load with the addition of 10 validators. I think there might actually be 11. One more was added, I think. 1.72 million blocks processed, and things are holding steady. We are at RC2, and I expect that very soon we'll switch to RC3. and then from there remove the RC moniker because we are pretty stable. All right. We are going to do some stress tests this week. We're going to test transaction concurrency. So we want to have a lot of different accounts submit transactions at the same time, and check out how the pools hold up, etc. We are going to check validator responses also, because we now have these additional validators securing the network. And of course, we had anticipated a rebase this week, but as you will see in the download, there's a good reason for that to be pushed out a little bit to next week. And of course, when rebases occur, perks move from a vault into the pool being available for claiming. So you'll see that also happening this week. All right, so that's about it for the protocol there. And as I said, we want to keep the protocol fairly low key. It does its job in the background under the hood. We don't want it to become a superstar. We want it to be like behind the scenes staff. You know what I mean? All right. So now let's talk about capital. We are at 1.27 million on our booster sales. Let's go check and see if things have changed since. Yeah, it's 273. Changed a little bit there. But that continues to go well. I thank you very much for continuing your support. So we have 8,370 boosters at this point and 549 early birds. If you are a crypto investor and you are interested in being a part of this project, a booster is the easiest and fastest way for you to join. It's $150 each. You can go to booster.vitruvio.xyz and just pick up 1 or 10 or however you want. And if your appetite is for more, you can pick up a super booster. We are reaching the point now where we are looking at sort of the tail end of our booster campaign. So if you're on the sidelines, this is probably a good time for you to pick up some boosters. All right, now let me give you a financial update. As I mentioned last time, we had not done any spending during the month of January because the staff were working on sort of a tight budget and also converting some of their pay into tokens or deferring pay, etc., to make sure that we had tight capital spending. So what I'm going to present to you is our spend for the entire month of January. So we did a multi-sig transaction yesterday for 179,350. So this covered all expenses for the month. That includes the council and team lead salaries, general staff salaries, and then for development, we have actually 3 buckets of developer expenses. We have protocol and DevOps. So protocol means everything related to the blockchain. And as you know, we stood up all the validators, etc. And DevOps. So DevOps is a big deal. DevOps is essentially keeping the servers running and the connectivity, the firewalls, the security, and all of that. And then we have another category called platform apps. So platform apps are the dApps you see that are used by everybody in the ecosystem. So that would be like we had the Swapper app, and then now we have the VTRU Scope app and other apps coming your way. And then creator apps are obviously the apps that are more creator centric. So the canonical one of that is VTRU Studio. And then we have 4 other buckets. We have content/marketing. So all the stuff you see on Twitter, Instagram, our website, the TikTok, etc. So that's all coming from that budget. Then we have cloud and infrastructure, which covers all our services to various apps that we use, like Google and pro versions of several apps like Notion, things like that. We had some back dues that we had not factored in, so we got those covered up. And there was we wanted to keep a little bit of capital around for miscellaneous expenses, so that's covered there. So those are our monthly recurring expenses, and we'll continue to monitor those very, very carefully and make sure that we keep spending well controlled. We had some one-time expenses. Last time we showed you Lens Post, so they are on board now, and they got the first installment of their grant. We are also supporting the VPN for artists in Iran, so we've paid the 90 days for that. And then finally, we've paid market makers, and there was some prior exchange fees that were not listed, and those were added on here. So that's your total for the multi-sig transaction that went out yesterday. All these payments have already been made. The monthly recurring ones, the one-time ones, will be made by some of them have been paid, but they'll be finalized by the end of the weekend. All right, now the next bucket is tokens. This is where uh, we have some very big and interesting news to share with you. So let's get right into it. But before I do that, I want to make everyone aware of what we've been doing all this time and why, right? So we know that we are creating a new listing on a centralized exchange. So I want you to compare what happens when you list a coin or a token on an existing chain versus a new chain. And this explains my earlier statement about how brutal of a week it was. So an existing chain, you agree on a price with the sales team, you submit the application, couple days, you're done. Launch the coin. It's so easy, right? That's what everyone says. Like why would it take so long, etc. Well, if you have a new chain, it's not the same. It is very time consuming and um, I'll just say grueling. All right. So we agree on a price with the sales team. You submit your application. You have to go through a business verification step. And then you have to collaborate with the technical folks at the exchange to stand up a physical blockchain node there. So, this is a read only node. They basically want to make sure that they are not reaching out across the net and they have the lowest latency possible. So they want a node that's in their sort of data center, if you will, or in their possession. Next, if you're brand new and you haven't yet fully decentralized, which is our case, you have to stand up validators. We rush through that, and again, I can't thank the validator team enough for stepping up and getting that done so fast. That was incredible speed, and it's been humming along. You can see if you go to explorer.vitruvio.xyz, you can see with each block the address changes, and you can see that pattern repeat because every block is essentially signed by a different validator. The total time for integration is not 1 to 2 days like an existing chain. It's 10 to 30 days. It takes all this time. And finally, launch. Now, in our case, because we are launching a DEX token first, and we don't yet have our cryptocurrency, our main coin listed, it created some challenges for us. But we've overcome all those challenges, and I'm very pleased to report that Mexi has confirmed that Vitro will be listed next week. We've gone through every step. Now, I don't want to share a date, and they advised us not to share a date because what they said is essentially it is best to have a public community announcement once there is a link that goes to the official site, because otherwise what would happen is we'd make an announcement, you would go to Mexi and you would see no mention of it, and you go like, well, what's going on? So the moment we have that announcement on their site, we will do the announcement and link out to that. So that's happening next week. It's confirmed. So what are all the things we had to do, and why did I say that it was such a crazy week? Well, we met all the general requirements. We met all the technical requirements. We've done the Vitro deposit. We've done the fiat deposit for liquidity. We fast-tracked the 10 validators, as I mentioned. And this is the new thing that came up this week out of nowhere. The basic concern that the exchange had is that VTRU was not yet trading, or wrap VTRU in our case. And therefore, it would not be possible for traders to acquire that, which is necessary in order to be able to do anything with their Vitro tokens, because you need VTRU in your wallet for gas and such. So as a result, we, out of nowhere, fast-tracked an OTC service and app, and I'm pleased to report that that is now live. We have an OTC at otc.vitruvio.xyz, and anyone can go there and buy Vitru for the same price as the boosters. So it's $150. You can go there. It is live and it is available right now, and it's working. So we got that done in record time. I would say it was just a little over 48 hours from the time we had to build this. Well, first of all, we had to essentially negotiate, what we were going to build, and so we got this done, and it is now ready to go. So these coins are coming from the treasury, and it's the same pool that the booster coins, etc., would be coming from. So we don't expect there to be a huge amount of traffic on there, other than small amounts to cover sort of gas, etc. But if someone wants to buy a large amount, they can do that too. These are coins that will be available freely. Now, in case you are concerned, I just want to make sure that if you are a booster purchaser, having done this, we want to make sure that when you boost and use your booster, your coins are also going to be dropped into your wallet exactly like these. They're unlocked and won't have any vesting or anything like that. It's an important point. I just want to make sure that our booster purchasers don't feel in any way that this changes anything for them. This does not in any way impact you adversely at all. When you make your boost, you got coins. They're going to be dropped into your wallet, free, unlocked, no issues, just like you would buy coins here. So there we go. That is the state of affairs with our VTRU listing. It as I said, I don't know if I have a little less energy this Friday than I am last, because it's been a journey to get this service up and to essentially respond instantly to all the requirements that are coming our way from the exchange. I've never done this before. This has been a learning experience for me, and now I know what to do when we go to our next exchange, etc. You know exactly what are the things we have to do, and it's going to be a lot smoother. But believe me, launching a cryptocurrency on an exchange for a brand new chain is a distinctly different experience than it is for, say, launching a coin that's on Ethereum or Binance or something. That is easy, so easy. This, not so easy. So anyway, we're done. And I'm very excited. Next week, as soon as it's on their site, boom, you'll see it on our site, and we'll get going. They have a marketing process, some workflow they go through. They're going to follow that, and we just follow along with whatever they do. So let's go continue. Now I want to shift our attention a little bit to creators and some of the things we are doing there. This is the segment where I kind of talk a little bit in broad strategic terms, because what I want to do is, over the course of these downloads, I want to help educate you about the big picture here. Sometimes when we are looking at the trees, we completely miss the forest. There is a very big picture here, and there's lots of pieces that are gradually coming together. And if you see the big picture, you can see why VTRU is going to be a juggernaut in this space in Web3. But if you just look at any individual thing, you're like, oh yeah, that's it's something that I think the armchair developers are going to say, I could build that in a weekend, and you know that they can't do that. But anyway, the thing is that there's pieces to this. There's a very deep and broad strategy at play, and it gives me great pleasure to sort of reveal portions of it at each of these downloads, so that it'll start clicking for you. So what I want to talk about today is about discoverability. We talk about Web3, and we talk about this creator economy and all of that kind of stuff, and we talk about artists coming in, listing their artworks, etc. That's just one side of the equation, right? That side does not balance out until we do the other side of the equation, and which is what we want those artworks to be discoverable to buyers. Unless there is commerce, artists are not going to come here. They're going to list, the first few thousand are going to list and wait and say, well, there's no sales here, bye bye. That's basically it, right? So we need to make sure we are prepared for that, and we have been working very hard to get ready for that. But we don't want to rinse and repeat whatever's been done. Why? Because it doesn't work. We looked at what the mistakes being made are in the broader Ethereum, Solana, Tezos ecosystems, and we are fixing those. We are fixing those in a big way. So we are answering these questions. How do you make artworks more discoverable? How do you put new artworks in front of existing buyers? How do you grow the sphere of buyers? Because, the same buyers are going to run out of money. They don't have infinite capital. You need to grow. You need to go to millions and millions of buyers in order to attract artists and creators onto our chain. And then also you need to target the right buyers. So these are some really, really difficult questions, but we are answering them and we are meeting them head on. So let's see. Well, the solution here is our approach is inbound marketing. Inbound marketing has been around for a while. It was championed by HubSpot, a big marketing company. It is the opposite of outbound. Outbound marketing is interruption marketing, where you use things like ads and things like that, emails, text messages, etc., to interrupt a person. They are not in a frame of mind to buy at that point. They don't like it because you interrupted them. Outbound marketing doesn't work, which is why the response rate is so pathetic on it, probably like 0.2% or something like that. Inbound marketing is better because what it does is it enables you to create a pull, just like a magnet, for customers to come. So our entire strategy, our entire application suite that we are building, all the tactics and strategic initiatives we are employing are around inbound marketing. So there's four main tenets of inbound marketing. The first is you need to deeply understand your customers. And boy, do we deeply understand our customers. We've been doing a fair bit of research into how collections work. I myself, I'm a collector, so I understand the ethos of artwork collectors. We've been looking into it outside in Web3. How does it work, etc. Then you want to create strategic channels to target those customers. And what you want to do is you want to create highly personalized content. And this is the key. This is really, really important. In inbound marketing, personalized content is the key to getting people. You can't throw out sort of a buffet of everything and get people interested. You have to be very selective about what content is seen by what users uh, to help convert them into that sales funnel, if you will. And one other important tenet of inbound marketing is KPI, key performance indicators. One of the things in life, just about everywhere, is what you don't measure, you cannot improve. So, one of the tenets of inbound marketing is to have goals, measurable, quantifiable goals for everything, and measure, and adjust accordingly. So, these are the tenets of inbound marketing, and we are going to put them into practice. And I'm going to help put some of the apps that we've already launched, etc., into context for inbound marketing, but also talk to you about some new things we are doing. The first of these is RSS. I bet you didn't expect to hear about RSS today in 2024, January. So RSS stands for Really Simple Syndication. It was huge. It made content distribution easy and scaled to millions of users. It's a standard. It was used extensively until the foremost product, Google Reader, was sunsetted by Google just because they didn't make much money. So it still continues to be used extensively for podcasts and things like that. And it's used in other scenarios also. So it never went away. It's just that it diminished in popularity because the best-selling reader was sunset. Well, what we are going to do is we are bringing RSS back. Vitruvio is bringing RSS back. What we want to do is create effortless creator artwork discovery and updates. With RSS, using any RSS readers or even your browser for that matter, you can get notified of new content instantly the moment it appears. So, what we have is a model where on the blockchain, artists consign their artwork and hit consign. When they consign that artwork, we intend to notify the whole world about it. We're going to do it on social media channels and other channels, other marketing channels we will be talking about in the course of the next few months. But the most important thing is uh, anyone who is subscribed to various RSS feeds that we will produce will instantly be notified that there's a new artwork. But here's the key thing. This strategy of using RSS, which is an existing standard, very easy to use, it allows us to create distributed marketing channels for creator content, but they can be highly personalized. They can be really granular, and they can cater to a collector's needs. They can, for example, follow a single creator, or they can follow a subset. They can follow 5 creators who they really like and get their artworks. They can follow a certain style or a genre. Maybe you love watercolors. Maybe you like only blue watercolors. So you can follow that. When it comes to music, things like which style of music, which genre, which artist. So you can create very targeted, essentially, feeds and be notified when some new content is available for it. So the other thing we are doing is we don't want to have the collector or the buyer come to our website to make the commerce transaction. We want them to make that wherever they are. So with RSS, we can embed buy buttons so that no matter what reader or what app they are using, there's a buy button right there, and it will launch and it'll let them buy things with their Apple Pay, Google Pay, whatever it is that they use, and they're comfortable with a credit card exactly where they are. This scenario where we don't want 1 or 2 marketplaces, we want 1,000, 100,000, 1,000,000 marketplaces, and essentially make content, artwork more discoverable and easy to access for consumption by collectors and buyers. So that is our strategy. Next week, I'll start showing you how some of this works, how you can use a concept called faceted search in order to create very granular streams and or syndicated streams, if you will, and bring content to you. So excited about that. And we've worked hard on the architecture to make this possible. And once we start rolling it out, you'll see how this can scale basically infinitely. And so the more creators we have, the more powerful the network effect will be as we roll this out. So that's RSS for you. All right, next up, I want to talk about metadata. But first, some chai. All right. So off and on, I have talked about metadata quite a bit in our conversations. Today, I want to dive down deep into it and highlight to you why this is a major innovation and why this will make Vitruvio stand out among other blockchains. So metadata is information about your artwork to make it standards compliant, manageable, and discoverable. So replace artwork with music, with film, game content, books, etc. But our initial audience is artists, so I use the term artwork there. Now, why is it important? Well, metadata using the linked art standards, first of all, makes it easy for different organizations and platforms to use your work because it is an industry standard. It's used by the top museums and galleries in the world, and that's where we are playing. We want to elevate Web3 art to an upper echelon, to the same standard as high quality art that is in top museums, etc. And so metadata is the key to it. The second thing is metadata makes faceted search possible. So I alluded to that a moment ago. So faceted search is the same kind of search that you will find if you go to reserve a hotel room or a flight or find an apartment. You have typically a sidebar, and it has a lot of sections, and in those sections you have checkboxes, sliders, things like that. And you can do that because the content is organized with those attributes predefined. So if you were to use an example of a flight, obviously you have your date range of when you will leave and you'll come back. Then you will have your airport, from, to. Then you might have how many connections you want, and so on. So that's a little simplistic. But when you get into things like hotels, etc., now you got location, which hotel, what kind of room, which floor do you want, smoking, non-smoking, pets allowed, not allowed, etc. All of that is possible because the data is organized with those fields, right? So now what we are saying is we are going to organize the artwork with these fields so it becomes searchable in a very granular way. You can target exactly what subset of artworks you want to get. The third thing is it makes the artwork more discoverable, because with metadata, what we can do is create feeds for search engines. What search engines do is they have the ability to, from your website, get a feed of all the content in your website. And if you can provide them very granular fields, which is what metadata is, they do a better job because there are standards in search engines for how to present content. So if you search for a movie, for example, you will see that in Google, you will get movie show times, theaters near you, things like that. How is that possible? Well, it's possible because search engines, when they show index data, they present it with these cards, and there are various different cards that are standard. So when your artwork is indexed with metadata, it can be presented in a rich way using a card with search engines. So we'll enable that. So metadata is important for that. And the third one is, we expect that there are going to be many different user interfaces for navigating art beyond what we see right now. What we see right now is a basic flat page with tiles and pagination. You just see that over and over again. Everyone's done that. There's zero innovation in that. But we can do better than that. We can aspire to do better than that. And with metadata, we make that possible. You allow great UI user interfaces to be created which are more immersive, which bring the user in and take them out of the real world and into this world of art. And metadata makes that possible. Metaverses also can use metadata to create immersive content. So metadata is very important in that regard. Now, the key thing is that the metadata we use, it's all publicly available on the blockchain. So this is a unique differentiating factor for VTRU, and I'm going to show you how and why this is important in just a moment. So what we've done is, for every artwork, we have 6 metadata sections. So the first one is assets. So what we do is we auto-generate a lot of technical information about the media asset. We analyze the file, we extract information from it, we get information about the file itself, such as its file size, its date of creation, and so on and so forth. The next thing is that's important is taxonomy. When you have a large collection of objects, you want to be able to organize them in a way that's meaningful. So taxonomy allows us to classify the asset and make it manageable and searchable. The next thing is information about the creators. So we want metadata to link who the creators are. I say creators because there can be collaborations, and put general information about them, who they are, where they're from, when were they born, if they are an older artist, when did they die, things like that. So all of that information is captured in the creator section. The next one is context. So you want metadata to provide prospective buyers, viewers of the artwork, as much information about it as possible. So that's done through a variety of fields such as description, keywords, tags, sentiment analysis, which is using AI to analyze the content of the artwork, to analyze what its general sentiment is, so that you could then possibly create streams that are mood oriented and give it more context. The next is provenance. It's important to understand where the artwork has come from, who's owned it, and also what are some attributes around its recognition in the industry. So things like exhibitions, awards, etc. Right now, every marketplace, this is completely missing. It's absent. This is a thing of great pride for artists to that their work has been shown at a certain exhibition or at a certain location. And right now, it's invisible unless the artist puts up a blog post or something like that. It's not known. But with us, with Vitruvio, we make that a first class attribute and surface it so that it's visible everywhere. And last but not least, we enable the metadata to be extended, because not all artworks are the same, right? There's a big difference between a watercolor and a sculpture, of stone. So how do you capture differentiating information there? And that's through custom fields. So I want to walk you through the current proposed set of standard fields right now. I'm not going to go through all of them, but I want to highlight a few of them for you because they are important. So in each of these areas here, we've got a lot of granular information, which you can peruse at your leisure. But the pink fields are the ones that I want to talk about a little bit. So when it comes to the asset, especially when you have something like a photograph, there has been for the past probably more than a decade at this point, EXIF data, which is information about the camera used, its shutter speed, maybe it's the GPS location, and a lot of very technical information about that goes in there. The color palette field is one where we do a color analysis of the artwork and capture its primary colors, the main colors. I shouldn't say primary colors because it would confuse with primary and secondary colors. So it captures the three main colors. We could capture more, but we think 3 is a good number to start off with that are used in that. That allows us to enable faceted granular search by color. So you can say, show me only red artworks. And you can see that because we automatically extract that. In taxonomy, there are 2 fields that I like to draw your attention to: collections and AI generation. Currently, in the world of Web3 art, an artist is forced to make a decision about a collection and then add their artwork to it. We think that's wrong. And what we do is we basically allow any artwork to be organized into any number of collections at the creator's choice, whatever they want. The next thing is today there's a big controversy about artworks being sold as human generated when they're in fact AI generated. So we don't want any of that. What we want is to make sure that the creator has the opportunity to very clearly state how much of the artwork is AI generated, whether it's full, partial, or none at all. So that is baked into the metadata, and thus there is no ambiguity and no confusion on the part of buyers when they try to get the artwork. So creator fields are fairly self-explanatory. I won't go through all of them, but let's go on to the next one. And here we have some interesting fields. So with context, as I mentioned, we want to enable more information about the artwork. So we support tags. Tags are a great way to have a loose sort of taxonomy. They used to call it folksonomy. I think that's gone out of style now. But tags are just keywords you make up. And it's possible that you can then go and get an entire body of artworks by the tags that are used. Mood, as I said, we will take a stab at auto-generating the mood with a sentiment analysis. That's probably not there in our MVP, minimum viable product, but it will be coming. But we also enable the artist to specify the mood directly. All right, then comes provenance. So it has always been the purview of Vitruvio to flatten the planet. We want to create an egalitarian system where artists everywhere, developing countries, developed countries, or in the middle of some village somewhere, can have equal opportunity. So plus code is a way for us to do that. Now plus code is a system that has been there forever, but not many people know it because it's hidden in plain sight. So this is a system developed by Google and a few others, which give every place on the planet an address. So you're probably saying, Nick, have you heard of latitude and longitude? I have. Latitude and longitude are not very human friendly. They are hard to communicate. No one likes to, speak in terms of large decimal numbers. So what plus codes do is they make locations digestible, especially for areas which have no ability to have street addresses, etc. So if you're talking about a village or something like that, it's really hard to be able to give it a street address. Well, with a plus code, every location on the planet has that. And you know what? It's always there in the mapping apps. You just got to look for it. So let's go here and go search for, let's say, 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. Yeah, so there's the White House there. Okay, and any search result, if you go here and look, the second item there will have that plus code. It's right there. I'll zoom in a bit so you can see it. So that plus code is what you can use to give a region that varies in its radius based upon how many digits you put in there. So you could have it be as granular as 2 to 3 meters, or as much as a kilometer. And that's the beauty of plus codes, is it allows people to preserve their anonymity, if you will. So if you're a creator in an authoritarian regime and you don't want them to be able to find you, you can provide a plus code that has a general area of where you are, but not a specific one. And it really makes it possible for us to extend the capabilities of location without having to have people sort of know specifics, etc. Now, the way this is done is that the entire planet is divided into grids. So actually, let me put the here. We can go to that address, I think. I don't know why it chose that, but oops, I didn't mean to click that. Sorry about that. There you go. Let me do that again. 1600 Pennsylvania. There you go. And let's zoom out. And I should start seeing the plus codes grids. It doesn't reveal it by default. There it is. I hadn't chosen that. There we go. So you can see how the entire planet is divided into a grid, and every location, whether it's in the middle of the ocean or whatever, has an address. So we're going to enable that. I'm excited about that feature. And then, of course, with provenance, we have exhibitions and awards, which we talked about. And with custom, we have one field that I'm really excited about, which is AR enabled. So if the artwork is augmented reality enabled, we will automatically have a viewer that will make that artwork's augmented reality visible. So these are some of the metadata fields that we are really excited about. But now I want to talk to you about what we are doing that's innovative, if that isn't innovative enough in terms of the fields, etc. So we are creating a new era of NFT apps, which allow many new scenarios to be supported. So current NFT metadata is stored in decentralized storage that's off-chain. It is not available to smart contracts, and therefore decentralized transactions are not possible. So let me show you. Let me show you a demo here. Let's go to a Bored Ape here, right? So we got a Bored Ape here on OpenSea, which is a marketplace, and it's got a description and it's got traits. So these traits are a UI created by OpenSea based upon details which are captured in the metadata. But here's the key thing about this that is the problem. This says this item's metadata was permanently locked and stored in decentralized file storage. It's not available on chain, folks. It is only available for an app. So Web 2 apps. But in Web 3, we want on-chain transaction capability, and that's not possible. So what we are doing is we are solving this problem. Excuse me, let me clear my throat. So how do we do that? Well, every other blockchain, the artwork metadata, you can replace artwork with NFT. This applies to PFP projects, this applies to artwork, etc. It's not stored on chain, it is stored separately. But with Vitruvio, all the metadata that I just showed you is stored on chain. So you can start imagining if a smart contract can query and figure out what the metadata is. Think about a PFP and being able to write a program that queries the traits of it and things like that. We can create so many interesting new scenarios for monetizing artworks. And that's exactly what we want to do. So the basic architecture we are building is that in Vitruvio, there is a centralized smart contract. I say centralized, I should say a singular smart contract called core schema. And what we do is we allow any project to register their metadata schema into this contract. So now you've got this one contract with thousands and thousands of metadata schemas for every kind of project imaginable. So if you got, bored iguanas or whatever, you can have a schema for that, and you can have all the traits that they have, etc. So now anyone that wants to work with your project can create a smart contract that queries your collection on chain and can gamify it, can transact with it, can create DeFi apps for it, etc. Next week, I will show you how on Vitruvio we will be building what would possibly be the world's first decentralized exchange for NFTs. And that is only possible because of metadata. So that's next week. I'll present that to you. I didn't want to inundate you with a lot of information here, but the key takeaway is on-chain metadata, not being done anywhere else, but it is a first-class citizen on Vitruvio. And this is really, really, really important. All right, moving on to products. So this is the part where I get to show you progress on the things we've been working on. So I'm going to start with VTRU Studio. So we have been working on this very, very hard. Myself, Fer, and the team in Brazil have been at it. And we are targeting a go-live date of February 7th. We're very close to the finish line on this one. We're going to start onboarding 1,000 Genesis artists in cohorts. And what I'd like to do here is take you to the app and show you its current state. So we've already had a few artists test it out, and we are very pleased to report that they loved it. And they said the simplicity of it, yet it's powerful but simple to use. So the basic workflow for an artist to consign their artwork is to go through multiple steps. You've probably seen these before, but we've added one step. So I'm not going to go through every screen, but I want to show you how simple it is to go through this workflow, where as an artist, you can upload artwork for different scenarios. So you can have your original artwork, but then you can have we have very specific size requirements to enable our customers who have, 4K displays to have that artwork display really well. So you have display, you have exhibition scenarios where, in addition to the artwork, we have a side panel where we have information about the artist, a QR code to buy it, things like that. So you have different sizes for that. Preview, which is how the artwork appears in galleries or in, when I say galleries, I mean online galleries, or in search results and things like that. And then print scenarios where we need extremely high-res images so that they can print really well, like, for example, the shirt I'm wearing with some artwork on it. So with consign artwork, we've done all the work. We've got our metadata engine here. So the fields that I just showed you, we are about to wire them in here. They're not yet wired in, but the engine is in place. And the cool thing about this engine is that it requires no development. It's completely driven by a configuration file. So we will put all the metadata in there, and this UI will update. And if we decide to add more fields, we don't do any development. We just change the configuration and the metadata starts appearing. So that's another thing we're doing. Licenses, I showed you last time, we have 4 licenses that we worked on. So NFT, stream, print, and remix. So those are all working now, and they support elastic editions and single editions and unlimited editions. Terms of use has been updated. We wanted to be very, very sure that people did not upload plagiarized, stolen, copied artworks, etc. So we have a contract here that is very fair and balanced for the artists. So we have that, but we also explicitly call out there that they have not copied or stolen it, and we also specifically ask them that if they were using artificial intelligence, then they have answered yes in the AI generation metadata. And they also certify that their artwork is not minted anywhere else. So we have all these things in the terms of use. And what I want to show you today is a new section we've added called auxiliary media. This is optional, but we feel like a lot of artists will find it really useful. So what we have here is the ability for the artist to upload augmented reality image or augmented reality video, or both. Here's why. Every artwork that is consigned to Vitruvio is automatically augmented reality enabled. You don't have to do anything other than provide some content. We will be releasing a browser-based augmented reality viewer where you point it to an artwork, regardless of whether it appears on your computer or on a shopping bag or a t-shirt or on a wall as a print. When you use our viewer, any artwork consigned through Vitruvio will have augmented reality content. And as the glasses become more mainstream, we'll support those too. In addition, we also support BTS, behind the scenes video, images, etc., so that the artist can share that content either directly when someone purchases the artwork or behind the scenes. So we have that. And last but not the least, on the right-hand side, you see Code Zip. We are going to unleash upon the world a whole lot of interactive, dynamic artwork NFTs. And that's going to be possible through code libraries we provide. So artists will be very easily will be able to create artworks that are responsive, perhaps to the time of day, the season. So maybe your artwork has a sun that's shining when it's daytime and changes to a moon at night. So we want to create those kind of artworks. That is just one tiny example. There are hundreds of possibilities with code. And what we want to do is also enable a plugin library so other developers can create plugins that make amazing artworks and amazing video content possible, perhaps with AI integration into Vitruvio. So the age of static artworks will be a thing of the past. Like, I think static artworks have a lot of value. They're amazing, but also there's a lot of scenarios where you want to have something more interesting. And we can do that with our Code Zip capabilities. So that's Vitru Studio progress. And like I said, we are ready to go live with this on Feb 7th. We are polishing a few things, and we are adding a few surprise features in there still. And that will be out next week. All right, moving on to Vitru Scope. Now, I will apologize. Vitru Scope should have launched this week, but our entire team was sidetracked working on the OTC, which turned out to be a little complicated. And so we had to essentially deprioritize this one, but it is now back at the top. It is high on our radar. We've reprioritized it. Development and testing has resumed, and I'm confirming today that rollout begins February 6th. On this, we will start with 4 NFTs, and the order is, of course, going to be Nexus first. That's our main one. The other order will be determined a little later, and I'll report back on that. But my sincere apologies. This should have already been there this week. But as I said, we had to literally, turn turn and focus on getting the OTC service done, because it's very important for us that the Vitro coin listing occurs. So that's happening this week. So this coming week is going to be an insanely busy week of launches for us. We got Vitro Studio, Vitro Scope, we've got the Mexi listing. So there's a lot going on. All right, continuing, I got more. Let's talk a little bit about Poet. So before that, sip of chai. Now, the astute viewers here will start picking up the importance of Poet when I talked about inbound marketing. You can start putting the pieces together and see what is happening here. So Poet has had a very successful launch, beta launch. We've had 5,000 plus Poets minted, 193 drops, and a very positive community response. So we see lots of them being created every day. I'm very grateful for that. And it's amazing to see these being created. So what's next for Poet? Well, let's first answer the question, what can you do with Poet, right? So right now, you can get your community to engage with you in small or big units. And some of the built-in features right now are unlockable content. So if you didn't know about that, it's very easy. When you create a Poet, you can add a PDF, a video, or something to it. And only the people who claim your Poet have access to that. So that's unlockable content that is available right now. You can go do that right now. Zach and his crew are working on a Discord bot for token gating, so that other communities with Discord servers will be able to use Poets to control access to channels. So if you have a Poet, you get access to a channel. If you don't, you don't. So those two things are either already in play or are almost there for production use. Now, I want to talk to you about two use cases that Poet is going to enable. The first one is we want to create an ecosystem of plugin developers for Poet, monetizable. So if you're familiar with WordPress, which is a CMS, you know that there are thousands and thousands of plugins created by the community. Some of them are commercial and some of them are free. Well, with Poet, we are going to unleash the same mechanism. Developers can create plugins and make this into a very vibrant system. Now, what is this designed to do? Well, it is about inbound marketing, but more importantly, it makes our blockchain useful. It makes the idea of having a blockchain not just about transacting cryptocurrency back and forth, but it also makes it useful as a consumer application that goes well beyond Web3 into Web2. We want that. We want lots and lots of people, millions of people using Vitruvio. And this is the gateway for that. Now, that's developers. That's a small subset. How can we make it where end users, anybody who knows how to use a browser can use this? Well, that's where we get into app integration. And today, I'm very, very pleased to announce that Poet will soon have integration with Zapier. So if you are familiar with Zapier, it is a massive ecosystem of users with 6,000 plus Web2 apps that are available. And we will be integrating Poet with Zapier and allow two primary use cases. Token gate, which means if you own a token, something happens. And token issue, meaning some app based on a set of conditions can issue a Poet to a user. Let me show you. So here's a dashboard of the Zapier website. And what we can do is we can go and explore, and you can see how there are literally thousands and thousands of scenarios of plugins that people have created. You probably recognize a lot of these apps because you use them on a daily basis. And we are going to have Poet integration with it where it's seamless. You can basically use it as the input or the output of any of these thousands of apps. Let's look at how this might work. So here's Zapier Canvas, which is what you do in order to create workflows. So we're going to create a Zap here. So the way you do it is basically you can enable actors or applications. So I'm going to put something basic here. I'm going to create a step here, and I'm going to say attended workshop. All right. And I'm going to put an app here. The app I want to use is Eventbrite. We all know Eventbrite, right? Eventbrite. All right. So here's an Eventbrite. So you attend a workshop in Eventbrite. What happens next? Well, we want to issue a poet. Now, I don't have poet yet integrated into Canvas, but you would essentially do the exact same thing. You would search here for poet, and once it showed up, you would add that. For now, I'm going to manually say issue poet. But it's going to be as easy as that, folks. So you can wire up all kinds of apps, and you can say, okay, if the poet is issued, then what happens? Well, maybe there's some other app. Maybe they get an email. So we can put email here and search for, let's say, email by Zapier. So they get an email. So you can do all kinds of things like this in a very easy way. End users can, and we definitely see the potential for having premium versions of Poet that have more sophisticated features than the free version, therefore creating monetization. So that's Poet for you. And Zapier. I'm really excited about this integration. It's going to happen very, very fast because we are already working on it. And once that happens, Poet becomes a sort of a mainstream consumer app that is available to everybody. And guess what? The Poets are on chain. So it'll be the first app like that has Web 2 and Web 3 combined integration. So the bridge for this is going to be very, very useful to a lot of people. All right. I always, for every download, I've started to issue a poets. And so this is the poet for today. The link is the same. Please go to download poet and claim it. It's only there for a day. So if you're watching this video on YouTube or something later, it will not work. So this is only for the live users who are here. Please claim your download poet. We are going to gamify this a little bit. So a few downloads later, we'll start announcing some giveaways and things like that for people who have accumulated multiple poets. So give people an opportunity to scan this or go to that link. It's just download poet, VTRU.xyz/download poet. All right. Moving on to talk about the ecosystem a little bit. All right. So first and foremost, I want to talk about the DaVinci grant. I think I messed up my slides a little bit. Yep. So let me first talk about LensPost. So the LensPost integration is underway. We talked about how that would work last week. So we have signed an MOU and we are moving forward with the integration at this point. So that's the news on LensPost. And I apologize, my slides got mixed up a little bit here. But the next thing I want to talk about is the $10,000 DaVinci grant and the response to that. So let's look at that. So we have received a total of 60 applications. 56 of them met the criteria, 4 did not meet the criteria. Now, we got a pretty global response here. We got 12 from Iran, 11 USA, 8 from Nigeria, 5 from Brazil, and 5 from the UK. So that's a pretty good distribution. 23 countries in all represented. That's just the top 5, but in all there was 23 countries. And we had 2 categories for our grants here: social good through art and artist skills development. So we had 34 applications in the social good category and 26 in the artist skills category. All right, now let's look at drill down a bit more. What kind of projects are submitted here? So we've got artist therapy, storytelling, inclusivity, women empowerment, environmental causes, and wildlife conservation. So these are all wonderful projects, really, really hitting right at that topic. This was our intent with the topic, and we are glad to see that artists have responded with these amazing projects. Artist skills development, we've got youth education, community art events, art in the metaverse, innovative art forms. Ooh, that's interesting. I mean, would love to see what those projects are. Cultural storytelling, another interesting one, and historical art techniques. Love it. This is great stuff. So these are all submitted. The deadline has passed. So the next step is voting. And we are working on enabling a voting system, and we are being really, really creative about it. What we are doing is we are going to use Poet for voting, and you will learn about that next week when we make the announcement on how to vote for this, so that we can pick who the winners will be. The winners are going to be 5 projects for $1,000 each, and 10 projects at $500 each. So we've got a very good selection of projects to select from, and we're very excited. Our development grants that we announced last week are now on the website and available. And I'm pleased to report that some of the submissions have started to trickle in, and I have already started to respond to them and start engaging them to set up our first initial meeting with them to see what the project's about, to understand it, to understand the scope of it, and to see how it would impact it. So that, folks, brings us to the end of today's download. Lots and lots of material discussed here, but there's still time for questions. So Zach, welcome back. Come on up, and let's take a quick break, and so I can catch my breath. But what do you think of some of the topics we discussed today?
I mean, we're scooting along. I mean, obviously the delay of scope was it is what it is, right? And this ecosystem is slowly coming together. Outside of the core stuff that we've been talking about, the download, I've been working with lots of other devs and other people that we haven't quite named yet that are very excited to start building some of the more typical DeFi applications, your marketplaces and lending and gambling and that kind of stuff that will be, it's a standard to a blockchain. And so that was my week this week. And, I'm really excited about, and you kind of alluded to it, how Vitruvio is going to do PFPs. And that's been fun. And hopefully in the next couple of weeks, maybe even next week, we can kind of talk about it. But it's going to be very unique, very different than the mold that we've seen in all the other chains, and a way for all of those other chains and all those other collections without migrating their assets to Vitruvio to be able to use Vitruvio for their community. And that's really exciting.
Yeah, most certainly so. And the thing is, I predict that all the different apps that have popularity right now will eventually set up shop on Vitruvio too. But in order for them to do that, we have to create first an audience, right? So we have to grow the usage base, and so that's what we are doing with Poet to start off with. We are starting to bring in folks that wouldn't even know about Vitruvio, but now they do, and this is what we will do with even the RSS feeds, etc. They're designed to very easily and with extremely low friction, like almost zero friction, bring in people without beating them on the head with it's a blockchain. In fact, ideally, they use the app and don't even realize they're in Web3. They're in blockchain. That's what we want, and eventually they'll know it's Vitruvio. But the thing is, we don't want them to care too much about the fact that it's crypto and all of that. Like, we just do it in low friction way.
I'm very aligned with you on that. Like, the sentiment of crypto, though in the subsection of the world that we live, a lot of people think we're crazy. Even though we just got BTC ETFs, obviously it's it's a real thing, guys. But still a lot of common folks, your mom, your dad, your grandma and grandpa, they're like, my grandparents are like, oh, you're still working in crypto? Like whenever I see them and talk to them, that sentiment needs to go away. And that goes away when it's not anywhere seen. It's just what's in the background playing around. I mean, I've talked about this earlier when I joined. That's one of the big things that I was drawn to me is it's like, it doesn't need to feel, look, or have that crypto vibe, but it needs to serve a purpose, be a transactor, be a storage of information. It needs to be a backend, and it's a public ledger. And that's what I care about is the Web 2 features, or like the Web 2 functionality, excuse me.
Yep. Yep. All right. Let's go into some questions.
We don't
Then,
really have that many. I mean,
all right.
we have one big one, and I bet you can't anticipate what one it is.
Yeah, I'll just preempt it and say that, look, I've reached out to CoinGecko. It's their platform. They can do what they want to with it. I don't see it as a big deal. I think other people see it as a bigger deal than it is. When people visit our platform, they see the depth and breadth of content we have, etc. All doubt is gone. So I frankly am not losing any sleep about it. And we've submitted to CoinGecko to fix it. That's all we can do at this point. So all we're going to do by making it an issue is elevate it and actually this is what happens. Like, you bring an issue to the forefront and it becomes the issue. So I'm not going to make that mistake. I encourage our community members not to make that mistake, to make something that's a trivial thing. It'll probably be gone in a few days, weeks, whatever. But when we make it an issue, we actually draw attention to it, and unnecessarily so. So that's it.
I mean, we have all the necessary documentation to prove that that person is no longer a part of the project. So it's wait and see. You know, it's unfortunate, but it's a road. It's a bump in the road. It's not the end of the street.
It's going to happen again and again. I encounter it more often than people even realize it. Yeah. Just go right. Just bulldoze right through it, because when you have the breadth and depth of what we are building and the authenticity of it, it doesn't stand a chance. So I'm not worried about it. I really frankly don't give an F about it. So there we go.
Cool. Just an update on when the Nexus and Genesis NFTs was another one that
we said starting February 6th, we'll do that.
All right.
Yep.
But other than that, I mean, unless we got some ones that were just happened when we had talked about CoinGecko, really, we didn't have much to
I see some. Okay, let's take Southern Fried NFT's question. Since we all have our own contracts, when two artists collaborate on an artwork, that will also be a license that splits the proceeds or royalties, right? Yeah, so this is a great question. Every creator has their own contract. So what you're going to need to do is when we have those kind of situations where there's collaborations, we are working through the architecture on it. But one easy solution is that there's a primary contributor and there's a secondary contributors. We do that. And in the secondary contributors, their contracts are listed as getting the funds. So we'll have that. Another option is for us to dynamically, whenever there's a collaboration, create a new smart contract on the fly that is only for that collab. And so then everyone is an equal contributor on there. There's no primary or secondary. And that what you're done, all the contributors are listed as essentially owners of that contract. So that's more than likely the direction we'll go, but I don't have that finalized yet. Okay, I see a lot of interesting questions coming along.
We got one over here. What's the thought of a Poet app for the phone, mobile?
Yeah, we'll probably do that. This is early days. Like, this is an MVP product right now. But in time we will have that. Yes.
Okay.
All this technology behind for us artists, once we onboard, when metadata will be turned on. Metadata is on day one, on day zero. Where as soon as you consign your artwork, you are entering metadata, and you can edit your content. In other words, your artwork, your metadata, all day, for as long as you want. But there is a button there that says consign. When you consign that, it gives you an opportunity to review everything, and then it writes it off to the blockchain. After that, you can't change it. So that's the basic model around consignment, is you can edit until you consign, and then the metadata becomes on-chain instantly. Will there be a limit to the OTC VTRU that is invested to stop a dump on launch day, or does this not matter?
There was a question. There was questions are surrounding that, because now that we're unlocking, right, for the booster buyers, about now that people are going to have unlocked ones, what's going to prevent them from just selling at $1.50 and just getting their booster money back, but keep investing? But I know the answer.
Well, what's there to prevent anything from anyone from doing anything? It's a market. Some people will make certain decisions and other people make other decisions, and we can have some idea of where the market will go, but this is where it's important to communicate what the business value proposition is, what the business plan is, and so you can make your own decision on whether you are going to be a long-term or short-term or a medium-term holder. Obviously, if someone does not believe in what we are doing, which I have no idea why, they would want to sort of liquidate immediately. But others would probably be smart to hold on to things because this is going far. All right, what do we got? I see. Yeah, I see. I see a few questions here. Let's see this one here. Oh, we already took that one. Yeah. This one is: are the original UXI holders going to be able to transfer from one wallet to another wallet for security reason? Yeah, I mean your coins are already in your tokens are already in your wallet. You can transfer them as you wish. Not a problem. Cappy says that if it's VTRU for gas, then I think a limit of one per purchase would be more enough. Look, we're selling boosters, and you can buy an unlimited quantity, well, within reason, of boosters, right? But it's the same tokens there. These are just tokens without any benefits. Sorry, coins without any benefits. So, and they're coming from the same pool. So I don't know that there's any point to limiting because you can just go to a different web page and get more. So yeah, and I understand that the perspective is that the boosters are currently not usable, but really, whether you buy or you have it in a booster, it's going to sit in your wallet right now. Next week we'll start enabling VTRU scope, and then you'll be able to boost, and those coins will also sit in your wallet. So until they are listed, both scenarios end up with the exact same thing. You have VTRU unlocked in your wallet. So it doesn't make logical sense to limit. All beauty is equal says, hello, I'm super excited about Vitruvio. It's already amazing. No questions, just sending love. Love you too. This is amazing. Thank you for that feedback. Love it.
Fantastic question for art. When do we envision the start to attack the music sector?
Yeah, so it's about tooling, right? We gotta have the tooling in place. So VTRU Studio is designed. You saw the language in there. It doesn't say upload your it's about assets. So that asset can be media asset of any kind, etc. So we use that deliberately. We want to get it going, test it out, etc., and make sure this domain is working properly before we start enabling other domains and add to the complexity of it. It just makes it infinitely more complex. So we want to make sure we walk before we run. So my inclination is sometime in Q2 we'll start onboarding. Yeah. All right. Honestly, like I said, it's been such a rough week. I'm a little out of theme here.
Yeah, you look a little tired this week. I mean, just hearing about what you've been doing behind the scenes, it doesn't surprise me. And for those that are watching the 201, by the way, we did break our record for
Yay.
again. We were up to 231 on stream. Yeah, you're running around rampant doing so many things. We need to either take some of this operating capital to invest in cloning technology, or eventually we need to start hiring some more people.
Yeah, well, you know what people don't realize is that any one of the things we are doing is probably a solo startup unto itself. We're doing all of this with one team,
Yeah, it's not a very big team.
Yeah, very small team. So, but yeah, we'll keep at it. Tartan Madman, I will sleep when we've achieved some milestones that I am interested in achieving. Um, that's because we have momentum right now. This is important. Many startups never fail, never start to get momentum. You know, we have huge momentum, and when you have that, what you do is you double down and you accelerate. You don't put the brakes on. You speed up. So that's what we're going to do. We are going to fire on all fronts and keep things moving, and just make sure that our vision materializes, and our idea that yes, we can create an ecosystem where the incentives for crypto investors and artists are aligned, thus resulting in massive success, can come to fruition.
One more. This came through from our good friend Enrico. When will the 50-50 split for the no swap wallets happen?
We closed down Swapper, so now whatever is sealed, and whatever is unsealed is 50-50. So when the drops are done, that's based upon those splits. So at the point where we do the drop of the NFT is when we will issue the tokens also.
And this is just a little fun fact for context. Solana has 175 employees.
Oh wow, that's insane. Well, they are a mature blockchain also, and they got a lot going on. But yeah, that's a bit much.
Yeah, that's a lot. It's a lot. Polygon actually just cut 20% of their workforce today.
Wow.
Polygon Labs, that is. So, yep, that's a technical. That's a typical tech company. You know, raising money, hiring all these people, and then shedding weight just to raise some more capital.
Yep. Moondust asks about 48K VTRU transferred. So Moondust, we are starting to pay people with tokens. So instead of cash out the wallet, we subsidize some of that with tokens. So you're seeing that go out. You're gonna continue to see that. That was an allocated pool just for that purpose. So, okay, I think I'm ready to wrap it up. I have 2 more meetings today, so I have to go prepare for that.
One more
and get going. Yeah.
So, all right. Well, that'll do it for this week.
All right. Thank you all. Appreciate it. And I'm sorry if I didn't answer all your questions, but we didn't do a live this week, but I'll commit to doing one.
I said we'd probably like every other week. You know, every week would be like a pretty hard expectation, but every other I thought was fair.
Yeah, that was fun. So we'll catch up on more questions on the live.
Talk about scope maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. But thanks all. Appreciate it.
Have a good weekend, everybody.
And have a good weekend, everybody. Bye-bye.